Hello everyone and welcome back to Very Cold Lasagna, your filthy casual place for all the filthy casual takes on the world of sports. I am DylanLasagna and welcome back to another video talking about my San Francisco 49ers as they are fresh off the NFC Divisional Playoffs as they were the ones to wrap up divisional weekend as they took on the Dallas Cowboys. How about them Cowboys? So, yeah, wrapping up divisional weekend with, of course, the biggest matchup this year on the divisional slate was, of course, the 49ers and the Cowboys. A historic rivalry in the playoffs, met multiple times. Now the stakes were once again high. A trip to the NFC Championship in Philadelphia to take on the Eagles at stake. Yeah, I didn't ask for much more, to be honest with you. So, yeah, this was definitely a big game for San Francisco. Obviously, when you first look at it, it was going to be a big test for one quarterback, Brock Purdy. Like, how is he going to do against perhaps his biggest test yet against a top 5 defense? A defense that can really get to the quarterback and was really good in defending the pass. So, especially with an offensive line that's okay. I mean, Trent Williams is good. Aaron Banks and Spencer Burford haven't allowed a sack in the interior, but their pass blocking could use some work. Their pass blocking could use some work. Jake Brendel, okay. Mike McGlinchey, let's not get started on that though. But anyway, this is definitely going to be Purdy's biggest challenge yet. How is he going to do handling the heat from Dallas's front seven? It was going to be interesting. On the other side also, how is Dak Prescott going to follow up his own performance from the wild card game against the Tampa Bay Bucks? How is he going to go from easily having his way against the Bucks with 5 total touchdowns thanks to an offensive line, handling the lack of a pass rush from Tampa Bay's defense to constantly being in the face, constantly handling the physicality of the 49ers front seven. That is very physical, very aggressive. How are they going to handle that heat? So, we were about to find out in this game. Was it going to be a shootout? Was it going to be something else? Well, we didn't know. But either way, this was going to be an interesting game. And it definitely started that way. It ended up turning out being something that, well, some people expected, some didn't. A defensive battle, a grinder, because the story of this game ended up being the defense. Early and often, Brock Purdy gets sacked on the Niners' first opening drive because, well, the offensive line allowed a gaping hole to allow Purdy to get sacked, and he constantly got pressured. Same thing with Dak Prescott and the offense. The Niners' defense already got relentless pressure on Dak, forced him to get rid of the ball early and throwing it into tight coverage, 3 and out. And yeah, they were punting the ball back and forth. But the Niners defense cratered on Dak on the Cowboys' second offensive drive, and they got an interception. They got the first turnover of the game just literally halfway into the first quarter. But unfortunately, the defense Dallas got to Brock Purdy in the offense again after a weird play call in the red zone. After a weird play call in the red zone by Kyle Shanahan, by making Brock Purdy like Trey Lance, making this quarterback design run. Like, why? I don't know what we were doing there. Like, a lot of these play calls were weird too. So the defense craters. The defense craters on Purdy for Dallas, and hey, they take a 3-0 lead. So that is what it is. And for the Cowboys, a little later on in the second quarter, they were starting to have their way. The offensive line was protecting Prescott better against the Niners pass rush. They were able to help Dak get some key passes in and the running game going. They got a couple of 4th down conversions because, well, let's remember, in that Monday night game, against the Bucs, Brett Maher, their kicker, missed 4 extra points in that game. So they were having some trust issues with their kicker. And even in the pregame, he missed a couple of field goal attempts. So Mike McCarthy was definitely having some trust issues in that game that made you think, boy, he's going to cost us this game if it comes down to it, isn't it? And they're going to make us lose points. And it felt like that way was going to happen again. After Dak Prescott connected with Dalton Schultz, the tight end, for a touchdown to give the Cowboys a 6-3 lead. It could have been a 7-3 lead. But the special teams unit allowed Samson Ebicom to block the extra point from Maher. And then it still became a field goal game, 6-3. And now Mike McCarthy's just like, well, shit. Maher screwing it up again, even though the rest of the special teams unit allowed a block. Like, God damn it. So, same thing for the Niners. They couldn't get it was the same story for the Niners. They couldn't get anything going when they got to the red zone. They stalled out. Shanahan was calling a lot of weird plays for Purdy in the offense when every time they got into scoring position. And every time they called these weird plays, they bottom out. They have to settle for a field goal. They tied at 6-6, but it's just like, what are we doing? Why are we getting too cute? Why are we not trusting our running game in like sturdy, manageable situations? Like, why do we have to have style points in these 30 manageable situations? Like, get the first down. Like, we can keep these scoring drives alive if we just convert and then continue on from there. We don't have to like do anything stupid here, Kyle. We're not trying to play 49ers football again. Like, we don't need to do that. So, like, even though Dallas pushed again after what was a little bit of a long drive for the 49ers, they eventually came into a decision by the 2-minute warning. So they were stopped short of a 3rd down, a conversion, and then they came to a 4th down. And now they had a 2-minute warning to think about it. It's like, I'm Mike McCarthy. It's like, we have a makeable field goal here, but my kicker has been booty cheeks. He missed an extra point because it got blocked. He already missed 4 extra points in Tampa Bay. Like, can I trust him to like make this field goal, make it 9-6, going to halftime? And then he didn't. And he didn't go with Maher. Even though Dak Prescott converted the 4th down, he got intercepted right after by Fred Warner. So that's already 2 turnovers by Dak in the first half. And then, unfortunately for the 49ers, though, they couldn't be opportunistic about it. Once they started getting hot, started advancing down the field, got back in the scoring position in the red zone, Shanahan got too conservative again. Let the clock go down to 30 seconds. Like, his first half coaching was really weird. It was really weird. He wouldn't let McCaffrey or Mitchell run up the middle. Or like even outside. Like, they didn't try to run outside the box. Try to test the Dallas corners on the outside. Like, why weren't they running left or right? Shanahan was always telling them to run up the middle when the Dallas front 7 was like literally always there to stonewall them. So anyway, the 2-minute drill management was bad. They had to settle for a 9-6 halftime lead. It's like, we're making this way too stressful. We're making this way too manageable than it needs to be. Like, we could have had, like, what? 14 to 17 points by now over the Cowboys. But yet, Shanahan's making it way too hard on himself again in these winnable games when the Cowboys are shooting themselves in the foot repeatedly on offense. It's like, this has to be a winnable game for them, for the 49ers, if they're going to make it to the NFC Championship game. And it only got harder for the Cowboys because, well, they wound up losing Tony Pollard, their main running back, to a high ankle sprain before the end of the first half. And now they have to go to their former main guy at running back, Ezekiel Elliott. And Pollard's loss ended up becoming like a downgrade. It ended up feeling like a downgrade for the Cowboys because Zeke, sure, he got a couple of chunk runs in, but in the receiving game, it felt like, it didn't feel like anything for them. So the Cowboys actually ended up getting a potential opportunity at a touchdown again to take the lead, a sizable lead, when they got a special teams turnover against the 49ers to put them in the red zone because Ray McCloud got the ball peanut punched out. But the defense for San Francisco only held them to 3, so that was good news. But man, it was just like Kyle Shanahan's play calling was still putting the offense at a downturn. But at least the Niners defense still was keeping them alive. They were still making Prescott work and facing heavy pressure all the damn time. But then finally, with 5 minutes to go in the third quarter, the Niners finally woke up on offense. Purdy made this big throw to George Kittle, and it almost fell incomplete. But Kittle never gave up on the ball, made this juggling catch, and that woke up the offense. And then they started showing signs of life in the running game against Dallas's formidable run defense, who ended up getting tired, by the way. And then sooner or later, they get into the red zone. Dallas gives them a couple of red zone penalties like holding, illegal contact. And then Dr. Christian McCaffrey, CMC, finally gets a gaping hole that he really much needed from the offensive line. And then the Niners take the lead, I think 16-9, going into the after the fourth quarter start. And yeah, all of a sudden, the Niners are feeling the energy. They're feeling the energy. And yeah, sure, Dallas gets a field goal. They finally trust Maher to give them a 12-16 deficit. But then the Niners go on this long clock-burning drive that they used to do. And I think it was like mid-season. Mid-season in I think it was like last year or this year. I don't remember. They used to go on these clock-burning drives where they kill the clock, make sure that these teams don't have enough time to catch up to them. So it's kind of like those days. So Christian McCaffrey and Elijah Mitchell finally got some open running lane through the tired Cowboys defense. And yeah, sure, they only mustered up 3 points, but they did enough to give the Cowboys much less time to make a comeback, even though it was only a touchdown game. But it gave the Cowboys less time to make a run for it. And especially important enough, the Niners defense got a quick 3 and out, sacked Dak Prescott finally on a pivotal third down, and forced such 3 and out. The only problem was when the Niners had a chance to end the game and got the first down, it's just unfortunate that Elijah Mitchell stepped out of bounds and didn't slide to stay in bounds. I was like, oh man, that's a killer. That was a killer. Maybe it's just like in the moment or like bad situational awareness, but either way, he should have known better to slide in bounds. Like he has to know better next time. And what if there wasn't a next time? Well, that could have cost him the game. I would have roasted him then. So now it was on the defense again, because the Cowboys got one more chance, one last gasp to potentially tie the game and send it to overtime. And that last gasp, well, considering that it's the Cowboys, and what does that one guy, Stephen A. Smith, say? Just wait. They will always let you down. What can go wrong will go wrong. And that's exactly what the Cowboys and Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott did on that last drive. That last drive was just typical Dallas Cowboys. Dalton Schultz caught what could have been a critical first down conversion to put the Dallas at midfield, but he only had one foot inbounds. He didn't even bother putting his other foot in as well. And then on their last play, they tried to lateral, but Dak Prescott just threw it to some guy in the middle, like literally Kirk Cousin-esque, like in the last wildcard game against the Giants. He just threw it in the middle, and then Jimmy Ward was just like right there beaming to tackle him dead on, and that's how the Niners win a stalwart, grindy battle, 19-12. Like, damn. It was a pretty intense battle. It was also a pretty stressful battle in every way imaginable. I mean, yes, Brock Purdy didn't have a great game. I mean, let's face it. I mean, he didn't have an electric game or a great game, but I mean, he did enough. He didn't turn the ball over, which is very important. I feel like I would just wish Kyle Shanahan did more to give the offense a boost. I feel like there were a lot of missed opportunities on offense, especially with Kyle Shanahan's play calling, that could have gave the Niners more points. And especially with the way that the Cowboys were playing offensively too, it could have gave them a much more sizable lead and break the game open. So now they have to think about like where to adjust on that, especially considering next week's NFC Championship game in Philadelphia. Like, they can't be doing that against a team that will really hurt you if you make those mistakes with that kind of defense and that kind of offense. So, speaking of Philadelphia, the Niners are going to be facing perhaps their next biggest challenge, going on the road in Philadelphia in the NFC Championship game versus a faster, more dynamic offense in Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Miles Sanders, I can't remember his name, the tight end, and a more healthier offensive line, and a defense that upgraded in the last offseason with Hassan Reddick, Darius Slay, C.J. Gardner-Johnson. So that Eagles team that the Niners saw in 2021 in week 2 is vastly different than the one you see now. They're more experienced. They're more versatile. They're more dynamic, faster. But I mean, hey, the Niners are much different too. I mean, sure, they have their weaknesses like the offensive line, the deep passing secondary is a very big weakness for them. But the 49ers are definitely more battle tested than I'd say, in my opinion, at least. And yes, they did have an easy schedule, but hey, so did the Eagles. So the Eagles definitely had just as an easy schedule as the Niners did, even though they played in the NFC East. So for those of you saying, oh, the Eagles had it just as easy as the 49ers did, well, so I don't know what to tell you there. But definitely it's going to be a big battle for the 49ers, and especially another big test awaiting for Brock Purdy. Perhaps an even harder test against the Eagles defense. And definitely a very big test for the Niners defense against Jalen Hurts, who has a much more powerful offense than the one that he's faced last year in week 2 of last season. So we'll definitely talk more about that when the time comes, as we get closer to conference championship weekend. And it's going to be a big game. It's definitely going to be a big game that's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting. And this is as long as the Niners take care of the business and cut it close. So, yeah, what did you guys think about this game against the Dallas Cowboys? The Niners winning a very grindy, close battle, 19-12. Moving on to their second straight NFC Championship game, going on the road to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles, and hopefully finding a way to gain the upset over the top seed Philadelphia. Let me know in the comments below. Anyway, this is DylanLasagna of Very Cold Lasagna, and keep the lasagna very cold in the fridge with your takes on the world of sports. And until next time, Peace out.